Hello and welcome to Katrinas Creations. This is the Friday edition, and today I'm going to be dyeing 8 mini skeins of yarn. Now I have shown dyeing before, so this is nothing new. I use a technique with the microwave and food coloring. I've also done it with Kool-Aid, but the reason I'm filming this one is because this is some different dye that I've never tried before. I have done the gel version as well as the liquid version of food coloring, but this particular box of dye has some colors in it that I've never dyed with before. So we have the red, black, yellow, blue, green. There's white, pink, purple, gold, and brown. So we do have some different colors in here. So we're going to be experimenting with that. The supplies you will need will be some yarn that is dyeable. You can dye acrylic yarn. I've never tried it. So the yarn I will be using is Knit Picks Stroll. It's the bare yarn, which means it's undyed. I have also dyed with like Knit Picks palette yarn, which is 100% Highland wool that was just an undyed or just a cream color. So you can dye yarns with those colors as well. As well as if you have like a light colored yarn, like say you have a lemony pastel color yarn, you can dye over top of that if you wanted to add like speckles, things like that. But for today's video, I'm having undyed yarn. You will need food coloring of some sort. You can use the liquid version or the gel. I prefer the gel version. I just find that I can control it a little bit better and it's not as wet. So you'll need that, and you will also need some white vinegar. So just, you know, your store brand vinegar. So I'm gonna get the camera turned around and I'll show you what we're gonna do to get things started. So I tend to do a 1-to-3 ratio with the vinegar. I have about 3/4 of a cup of vinegar in here, and then I put 3 times that amount roughly. I don't measure it, I just do it till it looks about right. It doesn't have to be anything scientific as far as measurements go. But you're gonna let this sit. It does not have to be cold or hot water, it could be whatever temperature water. And then I have my small mini skeins of yarn. I have 8 of these, and you're gonna drop these in to the bowl and then push it down so it gets saturated. Because what happens is the vinegar helps the yarn to absorb the dye and hold it better. You want to be careful you don't tangle up your yarn when you do this. So there, I've got it soaking pretty well. And I'm going to let this sit for at least 20 minutes. You can leave it as long as you want, but I'm going to give it about 20 minutes. So there we go. I'm just going to let this sit for about 20 minutes and then we will get back to it. So you can use rubber gloves, but I have like little snack size baggies that I'm going to put my hands in. Now I used some of the pink dye. It might be looking red on camera, but it's actually the pink, and I put a couple drops in some water because I'm going to do my first yarn as an over dye. So I'm going to do pink and then I'm going to put some speckles in it. So here is my yarn, and I'm going to take out one of the skeins, and hopefully they aren't all tangled up. I tried to tie them pretty well. So here we are, and I'm just going to press the water out. You don't want to wring it out, but you want to press most of that water out before you get started. And I'm going to put this in here because this is going to dye, absorb the dye itself in here. Let me use a spoon. And I'm going to let this sit for a little bit, and we're going to go on to some other dyeing. But that's what it looks like. Like I said, it might be looking red on camera, but it's actually almost a highlighter pink right now. So I just want to kind of look around and make sure there's no spots where there isn't dye connected to it. We're going to let that soak for a little bit. So in the meantime, we're going to get started with another one of these little mini skeins. So I've already pressed most of the water out, and I'm going to lay it on. I have plastic wrap here, just the store brand. And because it's not all going to fit on here, I'm going to kind of loop it around a little bit, like that. So I don't know if you can see the edges of the plastic wrap. It's right at the edge, right here, the edge of the counter, up to here, and about here, because you're going to want to have enough that you can fold it. So now I'm going to put on my little makeshift gloves, because I don't want to have stained fingers. And here are what the little dye bottles look like. This is the pink one that I've already used some. So they're smaller than your average one, but they still have quite a bit in them. So I think this one I'm going to do a combination of brown and gold and kind of do a little stripy technique, I hope. That's my plan, at least. So I think this is maybe the gold. Yeah, this is the gold and the brown. Sorry, I had to pause the camera because these little things are hard to open. They've got like a safety seal on them. So this one is the brown, and I'm just going to put some streaks on here. It's coming out more as drops than it is streaks. It almost takes two hands to get it going, right? And if you're wondering what these green ties are, I put those on when I bound up the skeins, when I made them up, so that when I go to undo this, I can find where it's tied easily, just to try to make it a little bit easier on me, hopefully. Okay, so there's the brown, and I'm just going to use my fingers and kind of work this in. I don't want any of this too thick or heavy, because what I have found is when I go to microwave it, some of the heavier spots for the dye actually end up burning. So I want to make sure I don't have any spots where it's kind of heavier than others. And I'm just kind of pinching and rolling the yarn. That way I'm covering the underside as well as the top. Otherwise you have to flip the yarn over to get the other side done as well. So I'm kind of making sure I get it all together. I can't say it's looking overly attractive at the moment, but we'll see what happens with this. It's an experiment. My friend Sue Lothar is an artist. She's probably cringing as she watches me try to put some of these color choices together here. All right, now we'll mix some gold. We'll see what we come up with. I will say these little bottles are really tough to squeeze it out compared to the other gel that I've used in the past. Okay, let's see what I can, what disaster can I make here? What could go wrong? I'm not seeing a whole lot of gold color coming out of this. There's a little bit, okay. It just needs a little bit of blending. I might actually pick it up off of here to help blend a little bit better. And it's funny because sometimes the stuff you don't think is going to look good is what turns out looking some of the best. So hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised. We'll see. You can see a little bit of gold in there, so. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to try to do to this batch. So what you're going to do now, put the yarn in the center, and then you're going to wrap the package up. And you microwave it for about 2 minutes, and then after that you check it each time to see how dry it is getting. Now this is actually very dry. Sometimes when I do this I have a lot of liquid kind of floating in here. That's not the case here, so I'm thinking 2 minutes is going to be all it takes. So I'm going to sit these aside because I'm going to try to microwave them all at one time. You want to make sure you wash your gloves, or in my case my little sacks off. I need to make sure I get this stuff off because otherwise if I touch the yarn I'm going to get colors mixed into it. So now I'm going to go back to this pink that I started with, and you can see when I take the yarn out it looks pretty absorbed, but I'm going to squeeze this out into the cup. Make sure that I don't lose most of the color when I do this. And it's really retained it well, so that's good. Okay, I'll set that aside. And now I'm going to lay this yarn out. And I think this one, I might try some of that black, and I might put some little black dots onto the pink. So I'm not going to be mixing this in. I'm hoping it will do dots well. A lot of times if it's a more watery color, I could actually like flick it onto there, and maybe I can do that. I'm going to try dumping this out, put a little bit of water with the black, and then I can like splash it onto there a little bit more speckly looking, hopefully. Okay, so I have mixed some black and the water, and what I'm going to do, and we're going to see if this works. This is like a basting brush thing, so I'm going to try that, and then I'm going to kind of flick it like this onto the yarn. So we'll see if that works. Spread this out some. This is something I guess I should probably put the gloves on with. There we go. Oh, that's working better than I thought it would. Try not to flick it onto my countertops. There we go. I think I will leave it like that at this point. So again, I'm going to fold this up. And I'm going to continue dyeing some yarn, so stay tuned. I'll come back and show you when I finish all of them. Alright, so let's see the colors I have at this point. I have a tonal blue. I haven't microwaved these yet. So there's a tonal blue and a tonal purple. Really like the purple. Then because it's a Christmas Advent, I did some red like streaks. I tried painting it with that basting brush, and then I speckled with the green. And then this is just a tonal red and white, so it's kind of peppermint sticky looking. Then we have this one, which is the brown, the tonal browns. And that green in there is not, that's the tie-up yarns. And here's the pink one we did with the black speckles. And then I have a lemon yellow one that I would then put red speckles in. And then I experimented, because this is the black, and I was curious whether it would come out actually black or if it would come out more of a gray. And right now it's a gray with some undertones of green, so it should be interesting what it comes out as. So I'm going to put these in the microwave for about 2 minutes, and then I'll check them, and they might get in there for a little bit longer. So I will show you what they look like when they come out of the microwave and we rinse out the remaining color. So now we are ready to rinse out our yarn. I've let it cool down a little bit. And so I'm going to rip these bags open. And here's the first skein. So we'll see how much. You're just going to rinse them until you don't see any color come out. And if it's absorbed the dye properly, you don't get a whole lot of color coming out. Like this one, I'm not getting any color at all coming out. So you don't want to wring them out, but you want to kind of press them out or squeeze them out. But if you agitate them too much, you could cause them to felt. So here is the first skein. Almost threw it down my garbage disposal. That would be bad. So there is the first skein. Here's the second one. This is the one that looked like a peppermint stick. It seems like the color is staying really well. Sometimes the color kind of fades out on you a little bit. Now this one, you can see it is bleeding some because it's a red and it's darker than the other one was, or it just didn't absorb as much. So you're going to keep squeezing it until you don't get any red coming out, because you don't want to knit or crochet this up and then have it bleed when you're washing it. So there we go, it's not coming out anymore. And there's that color. Here's the tonal brown. The brown and the black I'm expecting the most bleeding from because they're the two darkest colors. Yeah, and you can see it's bleeding out. Looks like I'm drinking coffee and pouring it down the drain, but this does have a lot coming off of it. Okay, I think I got most of it out. So it's coming out kind of a muddy color. This was the gold with the brown together. I'm going to go ahead and rinse the rest of these out, and I'll show you what they look like once I have them out. So here is the yarn that's drying. We've got this was the peppermint stick kind of color. Here is the purple, and it has some other like reds and stuff in it too. And then this was the pink with the black spatter. That didn't turn out the greatest, but and we have the blue, and this was the black, but look, it's almost a sage green. And then this was the yellow with the red spots, the Christmas speckles, and this was the brown and the gold. So leave a comment down below. Let me know which one is your favorite. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please click that little red subscribe button down below, because we will be doing a giveaway starting tomorrow. And you will need to be a subscriber in order to participate in the giveaway. So yes, yarn giveaway tomorrow, because we have hit 5,600 subscribers. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.